Before fuel injectors ever existed, every engine whispered a secret. And do you know what it said? It said, "You need to fix me because I am a carburetor." And that was the first time I ever got paid to bring an engine back to life. I worked on a 1976 Ford LTD where carburetors ruled. Now, let's go ahead and break down the pros and cons of that era. They had a simple mechanical design, meaning less parts. There are less parts, less things to break. And in the end, it actually became cheaper. They were easy to repair because they were mechanical, meaning that they didn't need a specialized tool and or computerized diagnostic tools. If the engine ran rough or stalled, you can go ahead and pop off the top and check the jets and adjust the floats if needed. And it also had a lower initial cost. At the time, every car that was equipped with a carburetor was a whole lot cheaper. And this allowed a whole variety of different types of drivers being able to drive this car. Carburetors also became a staple in classic cars because it gave it the vintage, authentic feel. Manual tuning also allowed the drivers to have complete control over the engine performance. This gave them the ability to adjust to their driving styles, right down to the little and smallest tweak. Now, moving on to some of the cons of the carburetor. They were less fuel efficient because they were more focused on just raw power rather than fuel efficiency. They were extremely sensitive to temperature changes. So, for example, if we're down here in Houston and we tried to drive up to Denver, that carburetor is going to struggle because it does not like the cold and it does not like altitude changes. So, whenever you are going into higher altitudes, that means you would need to adjust it to make sure that you have the proper air fuel mixture ratio. So, therefore, your engine does not stall out or stutter or runs rough. And lastly, they were horrible in cold starts. So, if you're starting up that engine for the first time in a while, it would hesitate and or just completely stalled out until that engine got hot enough in order for it to crank on. And you also had the thing called a choke, and applying that choke would also help you out as well. Now, let's go ahead and talk about what actually replaced it, the injectors. Now, the injectors did come about in the late 80s due to the fact that they were more precise, they were more fuel efficient, and they specialize in both performance and also emissions control. Now, some of the cons to having fuel injectors are going to be higher upfront costs. They are more complex and they do need specialized diagnostic tools in order to diagnose them properly if something goes wrong. They do have a higher upfront cost and they are more expensive to repair. Now, which one would you choose? Would you choose a carburetor or fuel injectors? Go ahead and let me know in the comments below. And this is your Throwback Thursday. If you guys enjoyed this content, like and follow for more car facts.